Now, who was it that said it never rains in Southern California?
Seems it never rains in Southern California.
So, we have a Technics SL-BD22 turntable. Actually, was given to me by a friend. This and a Bic as well. And I'm not really into turntables. I mean, I do have vinyl. I like vinyl, but I don't collect turntables. Not like I have radios. But a friend of mine, neighbor, um, needs another turntable. There is a problem with his Technics, and which I told him I'd take a look for him. But in the meantime, I already got this, so I'm going to give this thing a service and give it to him. And so I really haven't looked at this yet. I don't know anything really about these or what year this might have been. Um, it's just not really my thing, but you know, I like vintage electronics, so this would be considered vintage, I would say. If I was going to guess, this is probably 80s sometime. I haven't looked it up, but somebody probably knows. It's got the speed indicator. That feels like the belt's probably broken. So this will be kind of fun, you know. We'll just get this thing cleaned up and maybe hook it up and show it working. Get some vinyl out. See if the platter pad comes off. That's got some cracks in it. That would be what's left of the belt. Yep. Well, I bet this thing works. It probably just needs a belt. Let's plug it in and see what happens. So I've just plugged it into my isolation transformer, and we'll just flip the switch on and see here. So, because the tone arms, I imagine the tone arm probably triggers it. Yep. Sounds like the motor may need to be cleaned or lubed. But I'd be willing to bet this thing probably works. I need to hook up grab the RCAs and plug it into a amplifier. Maybe that motor won't be so loud when I get all the broken pieces of belt out of it. Yeah. These things, what happens, is they're made out of natural rubber and it just disintegrates after 30 or 40 years. That's that. So that's a real easy thing to fix, though. Yeah, it's attached itself to the platter. Ew, it's like sticky. It's almost kind of turned to goo. We'll get that all off of there. We'll get it cleaned up. I'll put some gloves on to do that because that's just disgusting. But I bet this thing works. So I'm gonna look it up. Now I know the motor works. I'm confident I can get the rest of it working. Let's see, does it turn that off for a second? It's got a stylus on it for sure, and doesn't appear to be broken. Well, cool. Well, let me get a belt ordered up for this thing, and maybe I'll in the meantime I'll get it hooked up and see if there's any other problems with it. We might need a cartridge or a new needle for it. It's hard to say. Anyways, I don't really do vintage electronics, but That might be. Oh no, it works. Does it? It should lift the tone arm up and down. That might not be working. It's going to need a full service. Anyways, I don't really do this stuff. There's other really well-known folks out there. You've heard me mention their names before that do this stuff. I don't want to even attempt to be doing videos on this stuff, but I thought that this one might be fun just to give it a try. So we'll get a belt for this thing, and I'll get it hooked up to an amplifier out here, and we'll see if it works. So I got the belt on order for this. It's like $4, so pretty cheap. So it cost $4 to have a working Technics. You know, so I did a little reading on this. You know, they made this model for a long time. They made it from I think it said 85 to 2000. So this one I date probably somewhere in the 80s. I don't think that this is the cartridge that it would have come with either. But it doesn't have adjustable anti-skating. You know, it's the beginning of when cheap turntables started getting really cheap. Anyways, found my phono preamp and I hooked it up to the stereo I got out here in the garage, and grabbed some vinyl that I had laying around. Let's see if this thing works. How about a little Boz Skaggs? Let's see if we can. We have no belt on it. Maybe we can play Lido Shuffle at about 100 RPM. I bet that'll sound interesting. Oh, Lowdown. Yeah. Let's play Lowdown. That'll be fun. Let's see. Let's turn on the juice. And this thing sounds terrible. I need to really get in here and service it. But let's see. Oh yeah. It actually sounds pretty damn good. Except for the RPM being off. How about a little Lowdown, huh? Well, now I'm just wasting time, so everybody's just probably hit stop or close the web page by now. Well, let's figure out why the motor's making so much noise in this. I don't know why it's doing that. It might have something to do with the mechanism. I don't know if it's because it doesn't have a belt on it or what, but we're going to get in here. I want to clean this up a little bit. The lift for the cueing isn't working real smoothly either. It's kind of, let's see, it goes up real easy, which is good, but it's not coming up far enough. And then, see, it's not coming down. So I'm sure it all needs to be cleaned up. Oh, we can play backwards. Yeah, that's some devil shit there. Now that's cool. I wonder what Lido sounds like backwards. Bet copyright can't pick that up. Okay, that's enough fucking around. And try and get the old belt off of here that's pretty much turned to liquid. Um, this is aluminum. These platters are pretty cheap, and so you don't want to scratch it because then the new belt is going to get chewed up. But we do have to get this off of here, and I don't know. I think what I'm gonna do is peel this off with the screwdriver as best as I can, and then I mean, it is just gross. I really should have gloves on just to keep from getting all sticky, but oh well. I don't want to waste a good pair of gloves on this, I guess. It's not coming off easy either. I mean, it's going to leave residue. I'm going to have to get some acetone and a shop towel probably and peel this off. And I'm really trying hard not to. I don't want to get it at an angle. You don't want to take and go like that with it because you'll scratch up the aluminum. We don't want to do that because I've got no way to resurface that or anything, and it'll just eat up a belt if you screw that up at all. I'm sure I'm scratching it a little bit, but at least I'm not gouging it. So I'm gonna get this mostly off of here, and then we'll get some acetone on a rag and we'll clean this off. All right. So I peeled about as much of it off with the screwdriver as I can. I might have to get a razor blade or something if it doesn't come off easy with some. Well, we're going to use. I've got lacquer thinner inside my sprayer right now. If you don't have one, these are kind of nifty, by the way. You fill it up with you fill it up with whatever solvent you like, and then you pressurize it, and it's you can spray stuff down. I'm going to use lacquer thinner for a very specific reason, and that's because I don't have any acetone right now. So, put a little bit on here. Just put some on some shop towels, and you want to try and not get it on anything else because it probably removed the paint, I would suspect. Lacquer thinner may not be aggressive enough either. I don't know. Really got to get some more acetone. Just keep forgetting to get it. Buy it before they ban it in California, which is inevitable, I'm sure. Yeah, it's not coming off of there. And that belt you can tell, by the way, this is where it was resting. So if the motor was on the opposite end of where this is at, because that's probably where all the tension was, because there's nothing over here. This is all. So it sat in this position for probably a great many years, would be my guess. Yeah, this is not wanting to come off of here. I'm going to probably have to either get acetone, or I might have to use a razor blade on it. Maybe a brass brush, something that won't scratch the aluminum. Let's try a brass brush, maybe. A brass wire brush, perhaps. I want to be really careful, though. I don't want to. Yeah, that is on there. I mean, it welded itself. So I'm going to do I guess I would call it a no-no. But I'm going to use a razor blade on it. Like I always say, it's more important to know that you're doing something wrong than to do something wrong and not know that it's wrong. I mean, it is incredible. It's like it corroded almost, which is very, very weird. It's reacted. So I'm just trying to do my best to not cause any permanent damage here. It's got to be smooth. If it's not smooth, you're gonna get humming and who knows what else as it plays back. So I'm gonna just kind of lightly go around this whole thing and scrape this goo and corrosion off of here. And then I might even hit this maybe with some quadruple zero Words fail me as usual. Steel wool. Hit this up with some steel wool. Maybe a Scotch Brite. I've got Scotch Brite. Maybe that'll work. It's probably even better idea. Steel wool, Scotch Brite. Man, this thing is just really bad shape. Something so simple could cause so much harm. All right, let me get this thing cleaned up. So the steel wool seems to be doing the best job, actually. This is some Quad Zero steel wool, and I'm just going around it, cleaning it off. I mean, it's bad. It feels, to the touch, it feels really smooth now. It'll probably always be stained, but it feels real smooth now. Maybe a little bump there. I still got to hone out of it just a little bit. Oh yeah, it's much better. So anyways, this is going to be all prepped and ready now for when the new belt comes. And then putting the new belt in is really very easy. You just put it on the platter, get it around the capstan of the motor, the pulley of the motor, and slide it down. It's not hard at all. It's probably not a bad idea just to go around the whole thing, just in case, but I don't feel anything else. Maybe a little something. Just go around the whole thing. There. Well, that is much better. So we're ready to go now. It just never ceases to amaze me. Something that was once part of the earth tries to return to the earth. You know, it's pretty incredible. This is a piece of the belt. Look at how it's like liquefied. Just want to do a quick comparison here. This is a BIC. British Industries Company, I want to say it is. A little bit familiar with these guys. Actually, a friend of mine has some BIC Venturis, if you remember those. Pretty neat speakers. Look at the quality of this thing. This is American made. All metal. Nice high quality AC motor. It's just neat. It's just neat. That's all. You know, they don't make anything like this anymore. I don't know when this thing dates back to. This is probably the 60s or 70s. This is an interesting one. This is a changer. I wonder if it's got a date. Oh, there. British Industries Company. Made in USA. I love that. "24-pole, 300 RPM synchronous motor." Synchronous. Anyways, I don't know. This is pretty neat. It's all metal. Yeah, this thing's got a lot of issues, though. The plastic parts in it are failing. This white plastic is cracking. I already did a real bodged one, too, with some epoxy putty to get the switch to work for the program selector. Because the way that this thing works is it's got a changer. I've got it partially taken apart. Something's real stiff here in this bearing. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to take it apart. But it's got a changer on it, which I don't know that I've seen that many standalone turntables with a changer in them. That's something kind of new to me. There probably was a million of them, but I know they made them in consoles. They had changers. Those were real common. I had a Packard Bell console that had a changer in it. I still have my grandparents' Astrosonic changer from 1963. But I don't know that I've ever seen one in just a portable unit like this. Anyways, just a quick comparison there. All right, so the belt came in today. Picked this up on Amazon. I'm sure it's probably made in China or something. Doesn't say. I could be wrong, but I mean, it was only $4 shipped. So, anyways, let's install this bad boy. So, not really difficult at all, and I probably won't be able to do this one-handed. But we're just going to pull the platter, which you remember we cleaned up already. It's ready to go. Open up this new belt, and I still haven't. Oh, I got to clean up the old belt. I don't want to be that cheap with it. I'm going to get my shop vac here. I'm going to suck this crap out of here. So this is really annoying. The lid just does not stay up. And I looked at it, and it looks to me like it's just regular old compression springs. So there's no adjustment or anything. I mean, it's just weak from years and years. Okay, so I just stretched it around the platter. You know, it's a newer belt, so it's still tight. So now we'll just take it and get this to stay up for 10 seconds while I drop it on here. Now I should just be able to grab the end of it here and just put it over the capstan. And that's it. That was as easy as it should have been. So let's plug it in. Turn that on. And let's see if it works. Just look at that. That motor is more noisy than it should be, though. So we still got to do the service on it, but I want to get it working, and we'll get some music playing on it here first, and if it's worth it, it seems like it's worth it. Seems like it's checking out. I don't see any reason why it won't, but if it's checking out all right, then we'll go through and do a service on it. Well, we got it working, and I got the speed set just about right there. You can see the strobing. See how you can pretty much see the blocks in there. It sounds pretty good. Let me turn this down. If I don't do that, then the copyright will get me. Yeah, this thing sounds pretty good. I still need to clean it up. This pot is definitely dirty. You'd just touch it and the speed was all over the place. So I got to clean and lube that with some deoxit, and I'll clean up these controls. This thing spent some time in an area where there was a lot of moisture. It was stored kind of near the beach. So we'll wipe this down. I've got some plastic cleaner. It'll make this nice and clear. Actually, here's a little trick for you too with this clear plastic stuff, and I'll show you when I clean it. This cleaner wax, Meguiar's cleaner wax, this stuff is great. Mirror Glaze 6. It's kind of expensive. I just bought it on Amazon, though. I got a larger one here too to refill my bottle. But that stuff makes this old plastic, it just makes it like brand new. So anyways, it works though. All it really needed was a belt to get it working, but we're going to clean it up because I'm giving it to somebody. And it sounds pretty good. It doesn't need a new cartridge. It's a stereo cartridge, obviously, and it's working. It's got good separation, no issues there. So yeah, let's go ahead and wipe this thing down, and I'll show you how that wax does with the covers on these. It really makes them clear. Somehow I'm doubting the camera's gonna be able to pick this up, but maybe you can hear the difference. It certainly is a lot clearer, and I only did the outside. If I did both the in and the outside, I'll take the oxidization off of here. But this is just so much better. I just did this little strip. Sorry, this little strip right here. Listen to there, and then listen here. Probably can't hear it. Well, anyways, yeah, the microphone's not going to be pointed the right direction. But yeah, that cleaner wax really works. It won't take the heavy scratches that are in. This thing's been pretty abused. It's got, it doesn't look great. But yeah, yeah, this stuff is just not going to come out. But it certainly, in the areas that it's clear, it's certainly cleaned up quite a bit. So we'll polish it, and then I'm just going to get underneath it real quick and see, if we need to. It's working well. The only thing that's not working is the queuing lift. And it does work. It's just really slow. So I'm probably going to look at that. It's probably just dirty. But yeah, I'm not going to do a whole lot with it. Just give it a quick service. So I adjusted the queuing height. It was a little bit too high. So we're just right above the record now. So I got that set up. I think I kind of determined that I don't want to tear the bottom of this thing off. It's working, and that's fine. Nothing seems to be hanging up. The only thing I may need to look at is it, and I don't know if this is just something funny here with this, but I'm not getting to the last. It's retracting before the end of the record, so I'm going to have to look at that. I may have to get into it and adjust that. Oh, and of course, I discovered, I looked at this and I thought the cover didn't come off, and I thought they all did, but, I thought, well, maybe this one doesn't because it's cheap. And of course I got to looking at it. Oh yeah, it does come off there. So now I feel like an idiot because it just slides right out. But, we do have it working. And as I always say, every video needs a little bit of Kenny Loggins, why not? Ooh, this guy's scratched. Damn, this record is messed up. All these records were in a Packard Bell stereo console that a friend gave me years ago that I restored, and it had a whole stack of records from the 70s and 80s in it. This is one of them. And by the way, we did get this pitch control cleaned. I just shot a little deoxit in there and moved it back and forth, and it works now. It's not all sensitive anymore. Man, you want to talk about cheaply made. I mean, this definitely was the beginning of the end. It's just plastic, and look at how this is the reject mechanism right here, and all it does is it's a little piece of steel wire, taps on that. This normally is what gets hit by the tone arm right here. So the tone arm, this thing comes down and hits this. I'm trying to see how this is adjustable because it stops way before it's supposed to. So I don't know how. There's nothing that's adjustable in here other than this spring tension maybe. And I don't know how that tension would go up. If anything, it should lose tension, but it's definitely this hits this right here. This guy right here, when it pushes that direction, it engages the reject mechanism from the spindle as it's turning, which will then return the tone arm. I don't know why that's not working like it's supposed to, but I went through here and I greased up some of this stuff. It had white lithium on it already, so I cleaned it up and re-greased it. But I mean, this thing is cheesy. Maybe this is, like I said, they made this from 85 to 2000, but this might be a 90s model. But I mean, it's all plastic. All plastic, a couple of real basic circuits here. I'm not sure what's in here. This is probably for let's see, motor. The motor comes from here. This looks like this is power control, so this might be a power transformer or something. Yeah, it looks like there's a transformer in there. Anyways, so we're just going to clean this up real quick. I'm going to try and adjust this right here and see if I can get it to, but if it doesn't matter. I mean, who cares, right? Unless you're, well, I guess if you're playing an album from the beginning to the end, it's going to stop partway through the album. So we don't want that. So I'm going to try and figure this out. And once I figure out how this goes, how to adjust this, I'll show you. So we found the problem. This plastic piece is broken, and that is the cam that adjusts the arm right here. You can see this is the auto reject arm right here, and this cam, where you see the hole moving there, that cam is what adjusts the reject on this thing. And this should be on the bottom, and it was obviously a plastic part. This was on top, and this has got a screw head on it. This is what adjusts the reject. And obviously it broke off at some point in its life. And that's why with it stuck like this, it's rejecting way early because the cam's not in there to adjust it. This almost isn't worth my time to repair it, but I kind of have to do something, because if I don't do something, it's going to reject early and it's not going to be usable, period. So I'm going to try and use a screw maybe with a nut and hope that that's about the right position. I don't know. This so isn't worth my time. So of course I'm going to waste a bunch of time trying to fix it. So let me see what I can come up with here. All right, so we got it. Let me demonstrate here how it will reject at the end. I have it turned up to 45 RPM just so it happens faster. But we'll put it at the end here of the record. As soon as it picks up the tail, there it is. There, perfect. And I'll show you how I accomplished it, because the plastic parts are broken. And I'm going to make a statement before I show you how I fixed this, because otherwise I just catch a bunch of shit from people. This thing is not worth a whole lot of my time. It's not worth me completely disassembling it to make a fix when there's certain cheats that I know that I can get away with. So, look, I'll accept that some people are just going to comment and say that you fixed it wrong, but it's if it's not worth my time, if this was a 1200 or something like that, I'd feel differently about it, but it's not. It's a cheap turntable. What I did was, in lieu of the cam that would normally be in there, I found a 1032 screw and I just cut it way down. And I used a little super thin CA glue and I just glued it in there, because I can't get behind it to put a nut on it, and there's no room in the back there either. And it happens to be that this large pan head is the right size to set this cam, what would normally be a cam, in the right position to reject at the right place. So this is totally fine. This will work. It's not adjustable, but who cares? This thing really was being thrown away. So I've kind of cheated and fixed it with a fixed position. So, that'll work just fine. So, it's not the best way to do things. I do not like using glue. It's not my thing, but without completely disassembling it, which just isn't worth it, that's the way that I fixed it. I went ahead and I lubed this up to the queuing lift, and it's working a lot better now too. So if, now it'll actually raise and lower like it's supposed to. Well, maybe not. Maybe I lied. Hold on a second here. It could be, oh, you know what it is? It's because I lifted it. I have to get it reset. Because anytime you turn this thing on its side, gravity is not, it doesn't play nice with it. So, all right, it looks like it's reset now. So if I lower it, it should just come down, or not. It's still not reset. I did something wrong. Hang on. All right, we got it working. I just wasn't being patient enough with it. So here it's raised. If I lower it, it takes it a second, and then it'll come down. There. So it's not great, but I'm not going to disassemble it. It's good enough for what it is. The more and more I work on this turntable, the more crappy I realize it is. So, anyways, I think that's going to pretty much do it for this thing. We'll let me throw the platter cover back on here, and we'll throw a piece of vinyl on it and just make sure it's still working like it's supposed to. All right, so we got it all dialed in. I've spent way more time on this than I should have. It's just, once you get into something, you kind of keep going at it. So I had to adjust the height when this is up. That's what this screw does right here. There's a little flathead screw in there that adjusts the height. You want it to be just above the record. I got it cued. It's up in the up position right now. I got the pitch readjusted because I screwed it all up when I had it apart. So it's pretty good. It's still a little bit touchy since even after I cleaned it, but you can see it's a little bit fast. Let's see if we can't adjust it. See, it's so sensitive. That's pretty good. I mean, it's close. So it's queued up right now. I threw a little Eddie Money on here, the late great Eddie Money, and let's see what it sounds like. This record is so worn out. It sounds pretty good though. Stereo sounds good. It doesn't sound as good as the Bic, but it sounds pretty damn good. So anyways, we're going to wrap this one up. I'm going to give this to my neighbor. You know, he needs a turntable. This thing's halfway decent now. So anyways, I don't really do this, but you know, it's fun to kind of play around with these every once in a while. So all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up.